Do you like country music? Head down to Morris, Manitoba, July 25th, 26th, and 27th for the Howl at the Moon Festival. This year's festival features a number of high-profile acts, including Lone Star, Emerson Drive, and Dean Brody, as well as a host of local Manitoba artists such as Greg Arcade, Franny Klein, Aaron Starr, Chris Michael, and many, many more. The festival started as an event to bring a huge opportunity to local Manitoba artists by having everyone sharing a huge bill, and it's only grown since its inception. There will be shuttle buses from various locations if you can't drive, there's camping, day passes are available, weekend-long festival passes are available, and a lot more. You can find tickets and more information at howlatthemoonfest.com, and be sure to follow the festival on Facebook or Instagram.
This is my dad's podcast, but he's too sick to talk right now, so I'm recording the intro. This episode of Witch Police Radio is an interview with Cory Falvo, the creator of Fringe production Commando, the radio play. It's a live read of the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger film Commando with live sound effects by Cory and a ridiculous amount of props. Witch Police doesn't usually cover Fringe Festival plays and probably won't again. This one, admittedly, is a bit of a stretch for the podcast, but the live sound effects element kind of fits in with the format. Also, Cory and my dad worked together almost 20 years ago at a crappy part-time job. Enjoy the show.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre, Winnipeg's premier concert and event venue. If you want to find out all the great shows they have coming up, go to myparktheatre.com.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Alright, welcome to Witch Police Radio. I'm back in the food court. It's been a while. This is kind of the second home of the show in that I do a lot of interviews on my lunch breaks, and I'm glad this worked out. We're talking about something a little bit different today. Usually the show is interviewing local musicians and bands and people tangentially related to the music scene, but what you're doing is it's a Fringe play, and I have not yet had anyone over the years related to anything Fringe related on the show, so it's kind of cool. I don't want to go too deep into Fringe because there's so many shows every year, and I expect that I don't want to open the door to everyone contacting me, but we kind of know each other. Yeah, I mean, we worked together 20 years ago almost now, and so when you told me you were doing this project, I thought it would be a cool one to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you, and I'm very excited to do it. I'm glad we can.
Yeah, for sure. So I think maybe the best way to just start this is if you want to introduce yourself and then what you're doing, and then we can sort of go from there.
Sure. My name is Cory Falvo. I'm a local comedian and writer, and pretty much a jack of all trades, and I'm producing Commando, the radio play, in this year. Yeah. This year's Fringe. If it was every week, I'd just be, oh god. So it's a radio play based on the 1985 movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. So how did you pick Commando as the subject of this?
So I knew I wanted to do a radio play, and I've always wanted to do something like that, and the idea of doing it live and having it performed with live sound effects always seemed really cool. But I didn't know what to do, and then I was just like, why don't I do, instead, because I read old scripts, and then I was like, why don't I just pick a modern movie and adapt it? And then I don't know why, but Commando popped into my head first. And immediately after I thought of that, I thought of one of the scenes where the guy gets killed by a pipe going through him and steam pops out. Right. I was like, how would I do that sound effect?
Okay.
And that got me really excited from there, because there's a lot of really fun deaths.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, lots of action noises and stuff, right, going on. So
So it just kind of clicked, and it was like, no, this is the movie. I never thought, oh, I should do this one instead. It just naturally fell that way.
Are you a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan?
I'm big enough. I enjoy his movies, and I enjoy Commando. I don't know that I'm obsessed with it. I can't do an Arnie voice myself.
Right.
but I definitely have enjoyed his stuff over the years.
Do you have someone doing the Arnie voice as part of the play?
Yeah, we have Will O'Donnell, who I worked with before on a cable access show called Week Thus Far. And,
I remember that show.
Yeah, and he does a lot of voice acting work and stuff, and he's been in movies, like he was in that Netflix movie that they filmed here with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
So he's going to be doing our Arnold.
Cool. Yeah. Have you run into challenges, because that's such an action-heavy movie?
Yes.
In terms of telling the story through dialogue and stuff, does it work? I mean, it must if you're doing it, right? But
yeah. I mean, at this point, too late to turn back. Lots of challenges, because that's a modern movie.
Yeah. Modern-ish.
I mean,
80s, yeah.
And trying to do it in a radio play, which is typically stuff you would hear back in the 50s.
Totally, yeah.
So it's like, how do you do a machine gun or an explosion?
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of it, or a car chase, and we've managed to kind of replicate that as best we can using mechanical stuff. And like, there's a part where someone gets kicked into an electric fence.
Right.
And like just yesterday, I was like, oh, I got it. I know how we can do that.
Okay.
And so things are still kind of coming to me. So like, that's a big challenge, is the sounds. Is how do you make this close enough and how to the original sound, the actual sound, and how do you make it fun?
Sure.
Because even though I'm saying it's a radio play, like, we know everyone's going to be sitting there watching us. So you want to use props and stuff that are good.
So there's a visual element, even though it's
Yeah. And then you have to also make sure that somebody who hasn't seen Commando and isn't sitting there going, oh, this is that part.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be able to follow. So you have to change the dialogue to be like, hi, it's Cook. He's here.
Introduce
now.
the characters. Yeah.
So there's a lot of that, and we have a small cast. And fortunately, like, they're all people who can do multiple voices.
Sure.
That was what we were looking for.
Are you doing the effects, like the sound effects, live, or is it pre-recorded?
All of it's live.
Nice.
So there's nothing, no person using QLab. We don't have a tech up in the booth or anything.
So how much stuff do you have? Like, is there a whole box full of shakers and noisemakers and other things? Or?
Yeah, like right now my living room is a goddamn mess. Like we built a door, and we have like things hanging from that are mounted just so we can get at them, as well as just like a bunch of stuff from a woodshed that I grabbed. So, lots of props. I don't know exactly, but it's got to be over 50. Like there's a lot, probably even 75.
Oh wow!
100, yeah.
So people will see you doing this as the You're not behind a curtain or anything.
No, not at all. They will see me struggling and sweating. We had 2 rehearsals yesterday. We had to turn off the air conditioner. It was too loud, so I could hear, and it was like I was just sweating at the end and from running around. And
No doubt.
And there's a lot of like multiple sound effects, one up to the other, so it's a lot of me trying to be organized.
Okay. Have you done a Fringe play before?
I have. Okay. I've done 2 with a sketch group called President Bear. We did that a couple years ago, and then I think the year before that. And so me and all of my cast members, one of them is Sam McLean from D&D Improv. Okay. So he's a Fringe veteran, as well as Kathy Herbert, who was in President Bear with me and has also done a bunch of other sort of plays.
Cool. This is obviously a bit different, though. I mean, in the sense that it's an audio drama, right?
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, going from sketches where, like I had done all the sound effects for that, but it was all pre-recorded. It was all stuff I found.
Yeah, that's totally different. Yeah.
Very much so, and I think that this is a bit more niche. Like when you come out with a sketch group, that can be hit or miss.
Sure.
It's a lot harder to get people out. Whereas this has actually been nice in that people know what it is instantly.
Yeah. And if they know the film, for sure, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's enough to pique interest. So it's different, but I feel it's in a good way in a lot of ways.
Okay. Since it's an audio medium, maybe I know it's live in front of an audience, but are you planning on recording it and then making that available for people to hear who maybe missed the show or want to hear it again? I would
like to record it just for posterity's sake, just to like have it for myself. Yeah. I would definitely consider like putting it up if I liked it that much, or even traveling with it, considering all the garbage I have right now that I've picked up off the street. Yeah. So. But yeah, because that would be cool. Like if I finish with it and I'm not going to do it again, then why not just post it online and make it available to people, get footage.
Is there? I mean, do you see kind of a future in doing more of these if this does well?
Maybe. Like I like the idea, but at the same time, like we were talking about maybe next year do Demolition Man or something. Right. But then I thought but then it's kind of just me using the same sound effects.
Sure. Yeah, it's the gunshot sounds and the explosion sounds and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So how much different can I make it? Because as much as we did adapt the script, I don't know if it's that different that I like Commando's not a very good movie.
Right. But that's part of the appeal, right?
That is part of the appeal. I mean, it's probably the quintessential campy movie.
Totally, yeah.
And I think one of the best Arnold movies for his one-liners and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
So to me, it's like having, would we have kind of that sophomore slump? Would it be as cool or interesting or fresh as new?
Or are people bored by it after they've seen the first one kind of thing? Yeah.
Exactly. But it's something not to consider. Like if the right movie came up, absolutely.
Yeah. Because it just seems like a lot of work preparing the whole thing, and then you do a few shows, and then what? Like you have all this room full of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea what I'm going to do with half of it after.
Yeah. How edited is the script? Because I mean, time-wise, right? You don't have the full 2 hours or so to. Or do you?
No, not at all. So the original script is an hour and 45 minutes, and we have an hour slot.
Okay.
And you don't want to go over that hour at all.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You make it as tight as you can. And so it's pretty edited because there's also a lot of things that don't really play well as radio.
Sure.
Or just aren't essential. Like the whole introduction is just John Matrix, the star, Arnold's character, all of his men getting killed. And it's just a montage of that. And no one's really talking, no one's saying anything.
Right. So how do you show? Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. I mean, we have a narrator kind of cut in every now and then, but you can't just have the narrator be like, and then this other person you don't know takes out their garbage. Oh no, machine guns.
Sure, yeah.
So like cutting that or moving things around or also fixing a lot of the bad dialogue.
Yeah.
Because there's things that don't make sense. So it's edited. I think that like the perfect demographic is people who've seen the movie 2 years ago.
Right. So they remember the story a bit, but they don't necessarily like diehard fans of it.
Yeah, and I don't think like we tried to remain as faithful as possible and keep all the important stuff in. So I don't think anything's going to be lacking in that regard. But still, if you really want to like go frame by frame and say like, wait, they didn't do this. That's well, then we can talk about it. I would love to have that conversation about why you feel that I should have kept in their trip to the warehouse where nothing happened.
Right.
So
how many times have you had to watch Commando just in preparing for this? It's probably a lot, right?
Yeah. Oh, I've definitely watched it like at least 8 to 10 times just in the past few months. And fortunately, it's very rewatchable. But like my first draft of the script was me just writing it out from memory. Okay. Just to kind of see like, okay, what's important, what's stuck with me.
Yeah.
And then later on do a much more transcribed edit.
Sure.
But I've watched it a lot.
And it holds up for you? Like, are you not sick of it at this point?
No, not at all. Like fortunately, it's paced well enough that you don't get bored.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of those action movies are those big dumb action movies, right? That's what they're for. It's just popcorn entertainment. So it's not going to have long, slow, dramatic scenes. It's going to be just boom, boom, action.
All the drama is confined to just him in a car with Cindy, the heroine, I guess you could say, and them just driving. So it's always like a 30-second of him being really emotional. Like they've cut out a lot. Like they're supposed to have a love scene in the movie, but they were like, this is too awkward.
just go more shooting. Yeah,
exactly.
Is the live performance of it? Are they just kind of like a table read sort of setting, or are they going to be actually acting anything out?
It is just going to be a table read, so they're going to have their scripts with them. It's kind of based off of MTC's "It's a Wonderful Life" that they do the radio play of around Christmas time. So they will have their scripts with them. I mean, they're encouraged, of course, to be dynamic and not read like robots.
For sure.
They're all very expressive actors, so they're good, but it's not going to be like no one's going to be pulling out a fake gun or anything. Like that.
So I guess you're the visual entertainment doing all the sound effects in the background, right?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, I'm not going to tell them this, but I think I'm the star. So
Yeah. So has this all been? I mean, I know you're doing the sound part. Have you put this all together yourself, or have you had kind of input from the other people involved on the way?
I have had input. I'm a bit of a control freak in that a lot of it is me just going, you guys go home, but at the same time, like we'll have a rehearsal. We've definitely gone back and forth, and it's great. I don't think you can do a project like this or anything just solely on your own. And I love bouncing ideas, so it's been good. I mean, for the most part, I do the administrative stuff. That's just how I work. I like organizing, but no, they've been great, and like some of the suggestions have come from them, and it's really helped because when you're just one person, you're like, this seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
No.
And then when you actually try it, it doesn't. Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure. How different is this, I guess, from what you're used to? I mean, this has got to be a totally new area for you, isn't it? Or
yeah, normally I'm used to.
You're doing comedy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Normally I'm used to talking, and I mean, my bit. You're not going to hear me talk through the whole thing.
Right.
I think it's much better if I don't do a voice, if I don't do anything. And so it's kind of different in that way, just that I have to shut up. And I'm not used to that. So I also, to me, the humor is in finding the right props and sound effects, and making it as visually interesting, even though I am just like ringing a bell or something. It kind of flexes the brain in a different way. It's kind of like, as a musician, instead of writing a ballad or something with poetry and stuff like that, just writing elevator music. I don't know.
It's some of the exercise, some of the same muscles, but just in a different setting, right?
Yeah, which I think, doing something like this will make me a better writer and make me a better performer.
Do you feel that there's like elements of comedy that you've put into the script that maybe weren't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like we put in a couple of lines that are really goofy, because there's definitely parts where like I would react if I was a person in that situation, or like the whole mall scene. So here's an edit. Here's an example of like taking the movie and changing it. In the movie, Cindy, the character, agrees to help Arnold, and then completely betrays him immediately and gets mall security. And I was like, well, it doesn't make sense for her to be like, yes, I'll help you. No, I won't, because the script, her emotions and the way her motivations go up and down.
Right.
So rather than do that, we just had mall security arrest Arnold because he's being creepy in the Build-A-Bear, which I think plays better. She's saying it out loud. I'm like, that's not funny. But like in the actual play, it was like, how do we get the security and we still get Cindy to do that?
Right.
Especially because. So elements like that, like there's some humor there. Or Sully has to go to the mall. In the movie, he does it because he's doing a business deal with someone who doesn't have a name, has no reason to be there. And you can't
really portray that,
Yeah, and it's not interesting. It's just muddying up the work. So we just said like he gets off the phone with the evil boss, and the boss asks him to go pick up something at the mall.
Okay.
It's a cheat.
Yeah.
But we made kind of a joke of that, and so. Lots of editing, putting in humor, because the movie didn't take itself too seriously. We're not going to take it too seriously.
And you have there's a number of shows you're doing. Mm-hmm. Are you kind of expecting to tweak it as you go along too, like with the sound effects and stuff? And
absolutely, because once you get out there, like our first show is on a Wednesday, and then we have 2 days of nothing.
Right.
So I mean, I am probably going to lie awake every night, just being like, oh, I should have done this.
What went wrong with this? And for sure.
I'm a constant tweaker, so I will be doing that. Like, I will not stop.
Okay. And I guess, like, how are you going to have all your stuff set up? Do you have like a table just full of equipment, or what's the?
Yeah, like so I have like a microphone. I have a mixer that's like on my end, just so I can have a bit of control for certain things. And so I just have a table and my script where I have notes like throw this out when you're done. Get rid of this because I have to clear the table and constantly put it up, or be like, okay, prep for the heist. And prep for that.
What was the hardest sound effect to replicate?
Okay, the electric. You know what? I'd say the electric fence was pretty hard, but that's just recent. I think the thing is, there's a rocket launcher. Where she fires a rocket launcher at a police truck.
Okay.
And then it gets in an accident. So I have to do 4 sound effects together just to recreate a rocket launcher hitting
the whole sequence there,
and then it crash.
Yeah.
So it's very, very fast, and it's very it's 4 different, very creative things, I think. That like that's what I'm rehearsing when I'm at home.
Right.
I'm like, okay, pick up this, spray this, drop this, do this, and so it's complicated in that way. And if I pull it off, it'll be great.
Yeah.
When I pull it off, it's great. But if I don't, then it just looks like I'm dumb and I only have 2 hands and 4 props.
Right. But I guess like that might even, if you screw something up, it kind of adds to the humor of it too, right? If they see you kind of struggling in the background trying to find things, and it kind of, I imagine that would make it funnier to watch than if it was just hitting play on a laptop or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that's part of the fun. Sometimes it's fun to see people fail.
Totally, especially in a live setting like that too.
Especially in a live thing, especially with with comedy and watching people screw up and say stuff. And I also have like everyone on my team has done improv in some way. So so
they can handle it if something goes wrong, right?
Yeah, I'm playing a melodica in it. So if I pass out from blowing into a melodica, the show will go on. It'll still be good. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Even without me.
How many shows are you doing?
Well, we're going to be doing 8 shows, I believe, throughout the Fringe.
Is that fairly standard for Fringe?
Yeah. Typically, you'll get like 8 or 9, and if you have like your own venue, then you can have a show every night if you want. Right. But we just went in the lottery, so we only have 8 shows. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny with Fringe. Every year I intend to go. I always look at the list and I find ones I want to go to, and then it just never happens for whatever reason. I mean, I have been obviously, but just. I guess, how do you make this stand out? I mean, the name alone, I think, probably will appeal to people, but there's so many shows, and I think that's part of the problem for me, is that every year I look at the, whatever it's called, the agenda of all the people playing, and all the performances, and I think, oh, these look great, but I don't know which one I want to go to, and then I don't go to anything. So, like, I mean, I see you got the handbills and stuff right here, but how do you kind of get the word out about the show and about what it is?
Well, I mean, I'm
you're doing it now, I guess.
I'm doing this right now. I'm talking to everyone I can, and social media has been kind of big because that's a big part of the Fringe now. That, and just because I do comedy and I do perform, trying to let people know. And I mean, fortunately enough, I think that just Commander the radio play, it's a hook.
It is, for sure.
People know it's very much Fringe bait, whereas like my old sketch group, President Bear, was a bit more like ambiguous, and we had not so much had a following, but people knew of us, and we still had to struggle. So there's going to be a lot of hand billing and stuff, and that's the nature of it. As for getting someone like yourself, I don't know. What do I do?
Well, I don't know either. That's the problem, right? I mean, like you said, the name of it is a hook already, right? I mean, like when you sent me the information about it, that made me want to talk to you about it for sure. And if it had been just a sketch show, I don't know if I would have been as interested because I'm not really a sketch comedy guy, right? But So I don't know. It's I guess maybe I feel like Fringe is always daunting, the amount of shows and the variety of them, and just knowing. Because if you pick a bad one, you're kind of stuck there. You know what I mean, right? Like you're stuck there for an hour watching something that maybe you should have gone to see something else, right?
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? That's also kind of the fun part.
True.
Too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I love taking a chance on something and being like, this is amazing or this is bad. But the big thing is, you know what? Word of mouth is good. Like reviews are always good, and that's a good idea. But also just talk to people, and they'll tell you like, oh, I saw.
And it was great, and then you should go check it out. Yeah.
Exactly. Because people are going to get really excited, and you're going to take a chance. Like I've often compared like Fringe shows to being like just finding an old punk rock cassette tape in the bathroom at the Cavern and being like, what's this? And being like, this is great. I mean,
or it's horrible, but either way.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, like you get that experience. So my pitch to anyone who's like, I don't know about the Fringe or something, just open the book, really see what appeals to you. And I mean, you can also look at what has this person done before.
Absolutely,
Have they been successful? And that'll give you a bit more of insight. But for the most part, it's really something where taking a chance is kind of encouraged.
Well, yeah, I guess if someone's seen you do comedy before, they have an idea of what your sense of humor is, and maybe this will appeal to them that way. Does this give you time to go to Fringe shows yourself, or are you completely swamped with putting this thing on?
Fortunately, like once you're kind of like you've done your tech rehearsal, you've hauled all the props there's not much more to do except for handbill.
Right.
And so I do get to check out a lot of Fringe shows. So it's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, you should all go, and it's wonderful, and just. But because I'm there and I'm living it.
Yeah, you're right, embedded right into it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I do think that I get to see a lot of stuff and get to experiment, and I mean I have a lot of friends that do stuff.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So it's kind of nice being immersed in that. I mean, it's a festival. If you do folk festival, it's the same kind of thing.
Sure.
You're buried in this culture. And
you have to try and maximize your what you're seeing based on the lineup. Yeah.
You know, do I support a friend or do I take a chance on something else?
Right.
Do I do this?
Right. Yeah. What is the, just out of curiosity, what's the process for getting into the Fringe Festival? You mentioned the lottery. Did they just literally pull names out of the people who submitted?
That's pretty much it. So if anyone's like, I have an idea and I want to do a Fringe show, I would say do some research first, because it is something where you are putting money on it. I will say that...
Oh, right, you got to pay to submit, right? So, so they know you're serious.
Yeah, so it's I think it was like $750, but basically you just sign up, and then they draw your name from a hat in your production company, and then they take your money.
Yeah,
and of course. And I will say, like, if you have an idea and you're like, I don't know if this is good, I don't know if I'll make back my money. Sometimes I've been in bad Fringe shows, and you know, you've always the money. You won't lose the money. You'll just lose the time that you spend on it.
Well, it's such a popular event that people will go to see everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. You will get enough people as long as just don't shit the bed. And you'll be okay. But it's not. It's daunting, but it's not hard to get into. It's more just like making sure that you're prepared
Right.
Because
right.
it's like planning a wedding, where all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, do we need centerpieces? I forgot about that. So you need to like really.
Well, and especially with this, with all the props you need for the sound effects, you got to make sure you have all that together.
Oh yeah, exactly. My first experience with the Fringe was just I had a friend putting on a show, and he asked me to do tech for him. So I just, with a CD player, sat there and hit play for the sound effects. And that was a good experience, watching him struggle and suffer and have this horrible time. Well, I just, went with the CD and put it in and hit play. But that was good because it prepared me. So I think if you're interested, get involved, talk to someone about stage managing, or just, see the behind the scenes thing. But other than that, like, the actual process is not hard to get into.
Okay, that's good to know, because I always wondered, because you always see people from all over the world taking part in it, right? And there's so many shows that there's got to be obviously some kind of vetting process to make sure.
Not as much as you think.
No, apparently not. So I'm not going to make you read out all the dates, but where can people find out the kind of information about the show, who's in it, and where they can see the live performance?
Okay, so you can follow us online. You can search for us on Facebook at Commando the Radio Play, or on Instagram and Twitter at Commando TRP, as in the Radio Play. And we're going to be, the whole Fringe is from July 17th to 28th. Our first show, which we're hoping is big, is July 17th at 10.
Okay. So that's the opening night of the Fringe?
Yep, that's the opening night of the Fringe, and we're 10 p.m., so it's later, so no one's going to be working. So we really hope that everyone comes out. But yeah, that's it. We're on the social media. We're plugging away, making us known.
What venue are you at?
We're at venue 11, which is the Centennial Concert Hall Rehearsal Hall.
Okay.
So we're actually on the back of the Centennial Concert Hall. The entrance is on Lily Street.
Oh, cool. Okay. I don't think I've ever been to that one. Yeah, I've been to the concert hall, but I don't think I've been to the rehearsal hall.
No, it's brand new.
Oh, cool. Well, that's just exciting then. I guess you get to test out a new space with it.
Yeah, which is like, I don't know how anything's going to sound, but
But you get a rehearsal, right? You get time to check it out. And
we do get a tech rehearsal. I'm going to spend 3 hours just breaking celery into a microphone.
Is that literally something you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's.
How much celery do you need for the run of shows?
At least probably 2 for each show. I might put a carrot in there.
Okay.
But at least 1 for each show.
Yeah, cool. And then people. Obviously, we want people to check this out, but because it's a podcast, someone could be listening to this 3 years from now or whatever, right? When the show's obviously over. How can people find out more information about your regular work you're doing?
So I do stand-up comedy all the time, and you can follow me online, Instagram and Twitter at Cory Bantiasm.
Okay, what does that mean? Yeah.
That is a word with my name in it.
Yeah, well, the Cory part I understand.
Yeah, okay, you got that. Okay, you're following. The other part is it's like a sleepless frenzy in which the person dreams of sleep. It's one of those big words that that no one's ever used in a sentence ever. But I decided to use that, and that's Cory Bantiasm.
Cool, and I'll link to some of this stuff in the show notes too, so people can check it out. Do you have anything coming up aside from this, or is this kind of your?
This is kind of my baby, and so nothing right now. But you can regularly catch me in shows at Wee Johnny's, which is at 177 McDermott.
Okay, cool.
And we also, I don't know if this is going up.
This will come up real soon.
Okay, there's a Fringe preview show, Wee Johnny's, on Thursday. We'll be there as well as.
Oh, cool. Okay. A preview of a bunch of shows in the Fringe, or preview
of a bunch of shows. I think they have like seven acts that are
cool.
going
So it's just, I guess, a short excerpt from the production.
Everyone does like a short bit, and it's at 8 p.m. and it's free.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay, great. That's maybe a good way to end it then. So yeah, people should check out Commando the Radio Play. Again, what's the social media addresses?
That's Commando TRP for Instagram and Facebook. Instagram and Twitter.
Yep.
And for my own personal stuff, Cory Bantiasm.
Okay, awesome. And if you want to hear more episodes of this show, which typically aren't about Fringe plays, but I kind of like talking about something different every once in a while. So, you can go to witchpolice.com. Almost 400 episodes now are there for free download and streaming, and you can also tune in on Sunday nights at midnight on UMFM. And those are older episodes that kind of get a second wind months after they originally come out as a podcast. So, I mean, by the time this comes out on the air, the show will be long over, but maybe you will have recorded it and put it up somewhere, or maybe someone wants to check out your other comedy or whatever. So yeah, so it still has an added boost. Okay, a little bit after the fact. So it's kind of cool.
For sure.
Right on. Well, yeah, thanks a lot. That's all I got time for here. But happy to talk to you, and good to see you again. It's been a while, and yeah, this is a really cool idea.
Thank you so much.
I hope it goes well.